The moment I see her text flash across the screen, my heart drops. I wasn't snooping. Her phone was just there on the counter, buzzing with a notification from a name I didn't recognize, Tom. The message reads, "Last night was amazing. Can't wait for next time." I freeze, my grip on the coffee cup tightening until I feel the ceramic begin to crack. She's humming a tune in the next room, acting like everything is fine, like our 18 years of marriage haven't just been ripped apart by those words. I walk into the living room, phone in hand, my heart pounding like a war drum. "Claire," I say, my voice tight. She looks up, startled. "Who's Tom?" Her smile falters, replaced by a flicker of something. Guilt, panic. "What are you talking about?" she asks, but her eyes dart to the phone. Her body stiffens, as if preparing for a fight. I throw the phone onto the couch between us. Explain this." Her eyes widen. "You went through my phone?" she accuses, deflecting as she scrambles for an answer. "How could you?" "Don't," I snap, stepping closer. "Don't turn this on me." "Who is Tom?" Her lips tremble, and for a moment, I think she's going to confess, but instead, she shakes her head. "It's nothing. Just a friend." "You're blowing this out of proportion." I laugh bitterly. "Blowing this out of proportion? Your friend can't wait for next time, Claire." "What the hell does that mean?" The silence stretches, thick and suffocating. I can feel my chest tightening, anger and betrayal coursing through me. Finally, she speaks, her voice barely a whisper. "It's not what you think." I stare at her, every ounce of trust I've ever had for this woman slipping away. "Then tell me what it is." Her gaze drops, and she mutters something too low for me to hear. I step closer, my patience unraveling. "What was that?" "I kissed him," she says, louder this time, her voice trembling. "It was just a stupid mistake." I don't believe her. Not for a second. But before I can press further, my phone buzzes in my pocket. It's my oldest son, saying he'll be late from practice. A stark reminder of the stakes, the family we've built, the lives that will be shattered if this goes any further. I look at her one last time, the woman I thought I knew. "We're not done," I say, my voice cold and steady. Not by a long shot. I grab my keys and head out the door, my mind racing. If she won't give me the truth, I'll find it myself. I sit in my truck outside the house, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turn white. I need answers, and I'm not going to get them from her. My gut twists as I think about the implications, the years we've spent together, the family we've built. But if Claire won't come clean, I'll have to uncover the truth myself. The first call I make is to my friend Nate. He's a tech-savvy guy with a knack for finding information. "I need a favor," I say, my voice tight. "I think Claire's hiding something. Can you help me track her?" There's a pause on the other end before Nate answers. "You sure about this?" Once we start, there's no going back. I hesitate, the weight of the decision pressing on me. But the image of that text, the casual betrayal in her tone, fuels my resolve. I'm sure. By the next morning, Nate's installed tracking software on Claire's phone, and I've set up cameras around the house. I feel a pang of guilt as I place the last one, but it's drowned out by the need for the truth. That evening, she's unusually cheerful, as if nothing has happened. She kisses me on the cheek and tells me she's heading out for another girls' night. My stomach churns, but I force a smile. Have fun. As soon as she's gone, I check the tracker. She's not heading to the restaurant she mentioned. Instead, she's driving across town to a hotel. My blood runs cold. I sit in my truck outside the hotel, the minutes stretching into an eternity. When I see her walk inside, dressed in a way that's meant for anyone but me, I know I can't sit idly by. I wait until the tracker confirms she's still in the building before walking to the front desk. "I'm here to surprise my wife," I say, forcing a smile. "Claire Thompson. Can you tell me her room number?" The clerk hesitates, eyeing me suspiciously. But after a little charm and a crisp 50 slipped across the counter, she relents. "Room 312. I take the stairs 2 at a time, adrenaline pumping through me. As I reach the 3rd floor, I hear voices. Her voice. Laughter. It stops me in my tracks. The woman I've spent nearly 2 decades with, laughing with someone else, like our life together means nothing. I don't barge in. Not yet. Instead, I press my ear to the door, listening. The conversation is casual, but there's an intimacy to it that's unmistakable. My jaw clenches as I hear his voice, smooth, confident, far too familiar with my wife. I knock once, sharply. There's a pause, then the sound of hurried movements inside. When Claire opens the door, her face pales. "Jake?" She stammers, blocking the doorway. I look past her, locking eyes with the man inside. He's younger than I expected, smirking as he leans casually against the wall. "Who's this?" he asks, his tone mocking. "I'm her husband," I say, my voice steady despite the fury building inside me. "Who the hell are you?" The color drains from Claire's face as she steps aside, allowing me to enter. "It's not what you think," she starts, but I cut her off. "Save it," I snap. I turn to the man. "You've got 10 seconds to get out of here before I make you regret it." He raises his hands in mock surrender, grabbing his jacket. "No need for drama, man. She didn't mention she was married." As he brushes past me, I grab his arm, leaning in close. "If I ever see you near her again, you'll wish you hadn't." He shrugs me off and disappears down the hallway. I turn back to Claire, who's frozen in place, tears streaming down her face. "Jake, I say, my voice cold. "We'll talk when you get home." I leave without another word, the weight of what I've just uncovered crushing me. This isn't over. Not by a long shot. I'm sitting in the living room when Claire walks through the door. She's hesitant, like a child caught sneaking in past curfew. The click of the door echoes through the house, and for a moment, the silence between us is unbearable. I don't move. I don't even look at her. "Jake," she starts, her voice trembling. "I can explain." I laugh, but there's no humor in it. "Explain what? That you've been sneaking around with someone else? That you've been lying to me, to our kids, to yourself?" Her shoulders sag as she drops her purse on the table. "It wasn't supposed to be like this. It just happened. It just happened," I repeat, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "You think that excuses it? Do you have any idea what you've done to me, to this family?" Tears spill down her cheeks, but they do nothing to soften my anger. She moves closer, her hands outstretched like she's pleading. "I never meant to hurt you, Jake. I was just, I don't know. I felt trapped." "Trapped?" I snap, finally standing. "You felt trapped in a life we built together? In the family we created? And your solution was to screw around behind my back?" Her lips quiver, but she doesn't respond. I step closer, towering over her. "How long, Claire? How long has this been going on?" She looks away, wiping her tears. "A few months." My fists clench at my sides. "And how many others have there been? Was it just him, or are there more?" Her silence says everything. I shake my head, disbelief washing over me. "You disgust me." "Jake, please," she says, her voice breaking. "It didn't mean anything. It was just physical." I let out a bitter laugh. "Just physical? Is that supposed to make me feel better?" Because it doesn't. It makes it worse. You threw away everything we had for nothing." She steps closer, reaching for me, but I back away. "Don't," I say, my voice hard. "Don't you dare touch me." For a moment, she stands frozen, her hands trembling at her sides. Then, as if a switch flips, her expression changes. "You're not perfect, Jake," she spits. "You act like you've been some saint, but you've ignored me for years. You buried yourself in work and left me here to fend for myself. Don't you dare try to blame this on me." I fire back, my anger reigniting. "I worked my ass off to give this family everything it needed, to give you everything you wanted. And this is how you repay me?" She looks away, guilt and defiance warring on her face. "I made a mistake," she says, her voice softer now. "But I love you, Jake. I do." I stare at her, the words ringing hollow. "Love?" I say, shaking my head. "You don't get to use that word. Not after what you've done." I grab my keys from the counter, needing to get out before I do something I'll regret. "We'll figure out the details tomorrow," I say, my voice cold. "But I'm done for tonight." "Jake, wait," she says, stepping toward me again. Please don't go. I turn back, my hand on the doorknob. You already made your choice, Claire. Now I'm making mine. I walk out into the cool night air, the sound of her sobs following me. As I drive away, the reality of what's happened starts to sink in. This isn't just a fight we'll get over. This is the end of something I thought would last forever. The next morning, I wake up on my buddy Mark's couch, my head pounding. Not from alcohol, but from the sheer weight of betrayal. The images from last night play on repeat in my mind, each one cutting deeper than the last. Claire's face, her tears, her excuses. I shake my head, trying to block it all out. Mark walks in, tossing me a cup of coffee. Rough night? I nod, taking a sip. You could say that. Want to talk about it? Not yet, I reply, but I'm going to need your help with something. Mark raises an eyebrow. What kind of help? The kind that involves digging up the truth. I need to know how deep this rabbit hole goes. He doesn't ask questions. That's the thing about Mark. He's the kind of friend who'll have your back no matter what. What do you need? First, I need to confirm who she's been seeing. Then I need to know if there's more. Other men, hidden accounts, anything. Mark nods, pulling out his laptop. Consider it done. You sure you're ready for what you might find? No, I admit, but I don't have a choice. Within hours, Mark has access to Claire's phone records, her bank statements, even her work schedule. It's invasive, but at this point, I don't care. She made this mess. I'm just cleaning it up. Jake, Mark says after an hour of silence, I think you need to see this. I lean over his shoulder as he pulls up a series of messages from Claire's phone. Not just to Tom, but to others. Names I don't recognize, conversations filled with innuendo and plans to meet. My stomach churns as I read the words, the casual way she talks about things that should be sacred. It gets worse, Mark says, scrolling to her bank statements. She's been withdrawing cash regularly. Not much at a time, but enough to add up. Looks like she's got a separate account she didn't tell you about. I sink into the chair, the weight of it all pressing down on me. This isn't just a mistake. This is calculated, premeditated betrayal. Mark, I say, my voice low, I need more. I need to know where she goes, who she meets. Can you set up surveillance? Already on it, he replies, grabbing his keys. I'll plant a tracker on her car. We'll have answers by the end of the week. As Mark leaves, I sit in the quiet, staring at the evidence in front of me. The woman I married, the mother of my children, has been living a double life. The realization is like a knife to the chest, sharp and unrelenting. But this isn't over. Not by a long shot. If she wants to play games, I'll show her just how serious I can be. That night, I return home, walking through the door like nothing's wrong. Claire is sitting at the kitchen table, her eyes red and swollen. Jake, she says, standing as I enter. I'm so sorry. I want to fix this. I hold up a hand, stopping her mid-sentence. We'll talk, but not now. I need some time to think. She nods, biting her lip, but doesn't press. I head upstairs, locking the bedroom door behind me. I know she'll try to snoop, so I keep Mark's findings hidden in my jacket pocket. As I lie in bed, my mind races. I'm not just angry anymore. I'm determined. Determined to get to the bottom of this, to make her feel the consequences of every lie, every betrayal. This isn't just about revenge. It's about justice. The next morning, I leave the house early, the air between Claire and me thick with unspoken tension. She tries to stop me as I grab my keys, her voice soft and pleading. Jake, can we talk tonight? Please. I nod curtly, not trusting myself to say more. We'll see. As I drive away, I check the app Mark set up on my phone. The tracker on Claire's car is live, her every move now under my watch. She's still at home, but I know it's only a matter of time before she slips up again. I park at a nearby diner and wait, sipping coffee and watching the tracker. Around noon, her car finally moves. The little dot on the screen drifts away from the house, heading not toward her office but toward the city center. My jaw tightens as I watch her stop near a high-rise building. A hotel? I grip the steering wheel, debating whether to confront her or wait. But Mark's words echo in my head. Get the full picture first. With a deep breath, I drive toward the hotel, parking a block away. I need to see this for myself. From across the street, I spot her stepping out of her car. She's dressed in a way I haven't seen in years. Heels, a tight skirt, hair done up. My stomach churns as I watch her disappear through the revolving doors. I wait, my pulse hammering in my ears, until I see a man join her in the lobby. He's tall, confident, and far too familiar with my wife. They exchange a quick hug before heading toward the elevators. I snap a photo with my phone, my hands trembling. This isn't just a suspicion anymore. It's reality. I call Mark. She's at the hotel, I say, my voice low. She's not alone. I'm on my way, he replies. Don't do anything stupid. I hang up, pacing near the entrance, my mind racing. I want to storm in, to drag her out and demand answers, but I hold back. Not yet. I need more proof. When Mark arrives, he's carrying a small duffel bag. Surveillance gear, he explains, pulling out a tiny camera. Let's see if we can get a better look. We sneak into the hotel, blending in with the lunch crowd. Mark sets up the camera in a potted plant near the elevator, angling it to catch anyone coming and going. We take a seat in the lobby, pretending to chat while keeping a close eye on the elevators. An hour passes, then two. Finally, the elevator dings, and the doors slide open. Claire steps out, her face flushed, her hair slightly disheveled. She's alone, but the man follows a few minutes later, adjusting his tie as he exits. They don't acknowledge each other, but the timing is too perfect to be coincidence. Mark nudges me. Got them both. I nod, my jaw clenched. Let's get out of here. Back at Mark's place, we review the footage. The images are damning. Claire arriving with the man, their brief but intimate interaction, their separate exits. It's enough to confirm everything I feared. What's the plan? Mark asks, leaning back in his chair. I stare at the screen, the weight of it all settling on me. She wants to talk tonight, I say, my voice cold. So we'll talk. Mark raises an eyebrow. You sure that's a good idea? I nod. It's time she knows I'm not blind. And I'm done being played. That evening, I walk through the front door, the evidence tucked securely in my jacket pocket. Claire is waiting in the kitchen, her hands twisting nervously. Jake, she says, her voice trembling. I know I've hurt you, but please let me explain. I take a deep breath, pulling out the photos and tossing them onto the table between us. Go ahead, I say, my voice steady. Explain this. Her face pales as she looks at the images. For a moment, she's silent, her eyes darting between me and the damning evidence. Then, she crumbles, her knees giving out as she sinks into a chair. Jake, I'm so sorry, she whispers. I never wanted you to find out like this. I lean forward, my hands flat on the table. You didn't want me to find out at all. But now I know. So, tell me the truth, Claire. All of it. Her tears fall freely now, but I don't care. This is only the beginning. Claire's tears spill onto the table as she clutches the photos, her hands trembling. I stand over her, arms crossed, waiting for her to speak. The weight of her silence only fuels my anger. Talk, I say, my voice sharp. No more lies. She takes a shaky breath, her gaze dropping to the floor. It started a few months ago, she begins, her voice barely above a whisper. At first, it was just harmless flirting. Tom, he made me feel noticed. I slam my hand on the table, startling her. Noticed? You needed another man to notice you? I've been here for 18 years, Claire. What the hell do you think I've been doing? Her tears fall faster as she shakes her head. It wasn't like that. I don't even know why it happened. I got caught up in it. Caught up in it? I bark, my voice rising. You were sneaking off to hotels, Claire. This wasn't a mistake. This was a choice. A series of choices. She winces, her hands tightening around the photos. I didn't mean for it to go this far. It wasn't supposed to what? I cut in. To destroy our marriage? Our family? Congratulations, Claire. Mission accomplished. Her sobs grow louder, but I don't back down. How many times, Claire? How many times did you cheat on me? She hesitates, her silence confirming the worst. I don't know, she admits finally. It wasn't just him. There were others. My stomach churns, the room spinning around me. I take a step back, running a hand through my hair. Others, I repeat, the word bitter on my tongue. How many? I don't know, she says again, her voice cracking. I wasn't keeping count. The sheer audacity of her words makes my blood boil. Unbelievable, I mutter, pacing the room. You've been out there, living this double life, while I've been here, holding everything together. I'm sorry, she says, her voice desperate. Jake, I'm so sorry. I don't know what else to say. I stop, turning to face her. You can start by telling me why, Claire. Why would you do this? She looks up at me, her eyes filled with guilt and shame. I don't know, she whispers. I guess I felt bored. Stuck. Our marriage wasn't exciting anymore and bored? I snap, cutting her off. You were bored, so you decided to destroy our family? Do you have any idea what you've done to me? To the kids? I didn't think it would hurt anyone, she says, her voice small. I thought I could keep it separate. I laugh bitterly, shaking my head. Separate? That's what you thought? That you could sneak around, cheat on me, and everything would just stay neat and tidy? Her silence is all the confirmation I need. She doesn't understand the depth of her betrayal. She doesn't understand anything. I take a deep breath, trying to calm the storm inside me. This isn't just about you, Claire. This is about our family. Our kids. What do you think they'll say when they find out? She looks at me, panic flashing in her eyes. They don't have to know, she pleads. We can keep this between us. We can fix this. Fix this. I repeat, my voice cold. You think this can be fixed? You broke it, Claire. You broke everything. I grab my jacket, heading for the door. She jumps to her feet, reaching for me. Jake, please. Don't go. I stop, turning to face her. You need to think long and hard about what you've done. Because when I come back, I'm making a decision, and it won't be one you like. As I walk out the door, her sobs follow me, echoing in the night. But I don't look back. I can't. I sit in my car outside the house, my hands gripping the steering wheel as Claire's sobs echo in my mind. Every fiber of me wants to scream, to explode, to make her feel the pain she's inflicted on me. But I know better. Acting out of rage won't solve anything. If I'm going to deal with this, I need to be smart, calculated. I pull out my phone and call Mark. He picks up after a couple of rings, his voice groggy. What's up, Jake? You okay? No, I reply bluntly, but I've got a job for you. Mark doesn't need an explanation. Tell me what you need. I need everything, Mark. I need to know who she's been with, where she's been going, and for how long. I need names, dates, times. I'm done being in the dark. You got it, he says. Give me a couple of days. I'll dig up everything. I hang up, a sense of grim determination settling over me. This isn't just about finding the truth anymore. This is about justice. If Claire wants to destroy our marriage, I'll make sure she feels the consequences of every single lie. The next morning, I head to the office, doing my best to keep my focus on work. But every time I close my eyes, I see her face, hear her excuses. The betrayal is a weight I can't shake, pressing down on me with every breath. My phone buzzes around lunchtime. It's a message from Mark. We need to talk. Meet me at my place tonight. I reply with a quick on my way after work and try to push through the rest of the day. When the clock finally hits 5, I grab my things and head straight to Mark's house. He's waiting for me in his living room, a laptop open on the coffee table. The look on his face tells me he's found more than I wanted to know. Take a seat, he says, gesturing to the couch. This isn't going to be easy to hear. I sit, my stomach tightening as he turns the laptop toward me. The screen is filled with photos, messages, and transaction records. It's all there. Every hotel rendezvous, every late-night meeting, every excuse she's ever made. Claire's been busy, Mark says, scrolling through the evidence. It's not just Tom. There are at least 3 others. And she's been dipping into your joint account to fund it all. I feel the blood drain from my face as the reality sinks in. This wasn't just a one-time mistake or a fleeting lapse in judgment. This was a calculated betrayal, carried out over months, years, even. Mark continues, his tone grim. She's also been lying to the kids. Told them you've been distant, that you don't care about the family anymore. She's spinning her own narrative, Jake. My jaw tightens, the anger bubbling up again. She's not just destroying me. She's trying to turn the kids against me. Mark nods. But you've got the truth now. The question is, what are you going to do with it? I stare at the screen, the weight of the decision pressing down on me. Part of me wants to confront her right now, to throw everything in her face and watch her squirm. But another part of me knows that's not enough. I need a plan. A way to expose her lies, protect my kids, and walk away with my dignity intact. I'm going to make her face this, I say finally, my voice steady. But on my terms. No more games. No more lies. Mark leans back, a small smile on his face. That's the Jake I know. Let me know what you need. As I drive home that night, my mind is racing. Claire thinks she's in control, that she can lie and manipulate her way out of this. But she has no idea what's coming. This time, I'm ready. By the time I pull into the driveway, my plan is set. Claire has played her hand, but now it's my turn. I step inside the house, the familiar scent of lavender air freshener doing little to calm my nerves. Claire is in the living room, curled up on the couch with a book. She looks up as I enter, her expression cautious. "You're home late," she says softly, testing the waters. "I had things to do," I reply, my tone clipped. I set my keys on the counter and walk into the room, standing over her. "We need to talk." She sets the book down, her hands trembling slightly. "Jake, I know you're angry, but I want to fix this. I'll do whatever it takes." I sit in the chair across from her, pulling out the folder Mark gave me earlier. I toss it onto the coffee table, the contents spilling out, photos, receipts, printouts of her messages. Her eyes widen, her face draining of color. "What is this?" she asks, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's the truth," I say coldly. "Everything you've been hiding, every lie you've told, every betrayal." She picks up one of the photos, her hands shaking. You followed me?" I lean forward, my voice low and steady. "I didn't have to. You've been sloppy, Claire. You think I wouldn't notice the money missing? The lies about where you've been? The way you've been acting?" Her tears start again, but I'm immune to them now. "I made a mistake," she says, her voice breaking. "Jake, please, a mistake?" I cut her off, my voice rising. "This isn't a mistake, Claire. This is a pattern, a lifestyle. You've been sneaking around for months, years, maybe. You've lied to me, to the kids. And for what? Cheap thrills? Attention?" She shakes her head, sobbing. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I wasn't thinking." "That's your problem," I say, standing. You never think. You never think about anyone but yourself." I start pacing, the anger boiling over. "Do you even realize what you've done? You've destroyed our family, Claire. You've turned the kids against me with your lies. You've made a mockery of everything we built together." She tries to stand, but I stop her with a look. "Sit down," I command. "You're going to listen." Her eyes widen, and she sinks back into the couch. "I've been patient," I say, my voice steady. "I've given you every chance to come clean, to fix this. But you chose to keep lying, to keep sneaking around." "I'm sorry," she whispers, tears streaming down her face. I don't know what else to say. I shake my head. "Sorry doesn't cut it, Claire. Not anymore. You don't just get to say you're sorry and expect everything to go back to the way it was." She looks at me, desperation in her eyes. "What do you want me to do? Tell me, Jake. I'll do anything." I pause, staring at her. The woman I loved, the mother of my children, reduced to this. Part of me wants to feel pity, but the betrayal is too deep. "I want you to own up to what you've done," I say finally. "I want you to tell the kids the truth. No more lies. No more excuses." Her breath catches, and she shakes her head. "I can't do that. They'll hate me." "They deserve to know," I reply, my voice firm. "You've been using them, manipulating them. That ends now." She covers her face with her hands, sobbing into them. I stand, the weight of the confrontation lifting slightly. "Think about what you want to say. I tell her. Because I'm not protecting you anymore. The truth comes out, one way or another. I head upstairs, leaving her to sit in the wreckage of her lies. For the first time in weeks, I feel a sense of control. She wanted to play games, but I'm done playing. This time, I'm calling the shots. The next morning, Claire is unusually quiet as we go through the motions of a typical Saturday morning. The kids are scattered around the house, oblivious to the tension simmering between us. I sip my coffee at the kitchen table, waiting for her to make the first move. She avoids my gaze, pretending to be engrossed in her phone. Are you ready? I ask finally, breaking the silence. Her head snaps up, confusion flickering across her face. For what? To tell the kids, I say, my voice firm. It's time, Claire. She pales, her hand tightening around her mug. Jake, I don't think. This isn't up for debate. I cut her off. You owe them the truth. They deserve to know why their parents might not be together anymore. Tears well up in her eyes, but I don't soften. I've been lenient enough. You're doing this, Claire. Today. She nods reluctantly, setting her mug down with a trembling hand. Fine. Let me just get myself together. You've had plenty of time to do that, I reply coldly. Let's get this over with. I call the kids into the living room, my chest tightening as they shuffle in. Emma, our eldest, looks concerned. Jack and Lily are quieter, sensing something serious. Max, the youngest, sits cross-legged on the floor, oblivious to the storm brewing. What's going on? Emma asks, her tone cautious. Claire looks at me, her eyes pleading for an out. I shake my head. Tell them. She takes a deep breath, her voice shaking as she begins. Kids, there's something I need to tell you. Something I'm not proud of. The room falls silent, all eyes on her. She hesitates, glancing at me for support. I keep my face neutral, refusing to let her off the hook. I've made some mistakes, she continues, her voice cracking. Big mistakes. And those mistakes have hurt your father and our family. Emma's brow furrows, her arms crossed defensively. What kind of mistakes? Claire's gaze drops to the floor. I've been unfaithful to your father. I've done things I'm not proud of. The words hang in the air, heavy and suffocating. Jack's mouth falls open, his expression a mix of shock and confusion. Lily clutches Max's hand, her eyes wide. What are you saying, Mom? Emma asks, her voice trembling. Claire wipes her tears, trying to maintain her composure. I'm saying that I've made choices that might lead to changes in our family. Your father and I are trying to figure things out, but I need you to know that this is my fault, not his. I watch as the kids process her confession, their faces a whirlwind of emotions. Anger, sadness, betrayal, all of it written clearly across their features. My chest tightens, but I stay silent, letting them absorb the truth. Jack is the first to speak. So, this is why you two have been fighting? Because you cheated on Dad? Claire flinches, her tears flowing freely now. Yes, she whispers. I'm so sorry. Emma shakes her head, her voice rising. How could you do this? To Dad? To us? I wasn't thinking, Claire pleads, her voice desperate. I didn't mean to hurt any of you. But you did, Emma snaps, her voice breaking. You hurt all of us. Max looks up at me, his big eyes filled with confusion. Dad, are you leaving? The question hits me like a punch to the gut. I kneel beside him, placing a hand on his shoulder. I'll always be here for you, Max, I say, my voice firm. No matter what happens between your mom and me, you kids will always come first. Lily sniffles, her voice small. Does this mean you're getting divorced? Claire covers her face, unable to answer. I take a deep breath, my voice steady. We're still figuring that out, Lily. But I promise, whatever happens, you'll be okay. We'll all be okay. The kids nod slowly, their expressions a mix of sadness and uncertainty. Claire sobs quietly, her shoulders shaking as the weight of her actions finally crashes down on her. For the first time, I feel a glimmer of relief. The truth is out, and there's no going back. The house is eerily silent after the conversation with the kids. Claire retreated to the bedroom, and the kids dispersed to their rooms, their usual chatter replaced by an unsettling quiet. I sit alone in the living room, staring out the window, trying to process the wreckage of the day. It isn't long before my phone buzzes. It's a message from Mark. Got something you need to see. Call me when you're ready. I step outside, the crisp air hitting my face as I dial his number. Mark picks up on the first ring. Jake, this is bad. Worse than we thought. My stomach drops. What is it? I dug deeper into her accounts, like you asked, he says. The money she's been withdrawing, it's not just for hotels and dinners. She's been wiring it to someone. Regularly. My grip tightens on the phone. To who? Tom, Mark says. And a couple of others. Looks like she's been paying them off for services. I lean against the porch railing, my mind reeling. What kind of services? Mark hesitates. Jake, it's not just cheating. It's organized. Like she's been part of something bigger. I don't have all the details yet, but it looks bad. A cold fury settles over me. Claire didn't just betray me. She used me. She used our family, our money, to fund something I can't even wrap my head around yet. What do? I ask, my voice tight. Mark's voice is firm. You confront her. But you need to be ready. This isn't just a personal matter anymore. If there's a legal activity involved, you need to protect yourself and the kids. I thank him and hang up, my heart pounding. The pieces of the puzzle are coming together, but the picture they're forming is far worse than I imagined. I head back inside, my resolve hardening with each step. Claire is sitting on the edge of the bed when I walk into the bedroom. She looks up, her face pale and tear-streaked. Jake, we're not done. I cut her off, pulling the folder from my jacket and tossing it onto the bed. Explain this. She stares at the documents, her hands trembling. Where did you get this? That doesn't matter, I snap. What matters is what it says. The money, Claire. The transfers. What have you been doing? Her silence is deafening. I step closer, my voice low and cold. You've been taking money out of our accounts, lying about where it's going, wiring it to Tom and others. What the hell is going on? She starts to cry again, but I don't back down. Don't you dare try to play the victim, I say. Not after everything you've done. I was scared, she finally whispers. They made me. I freeze, her words hitting me like a brick. Who made you? Tom, she says, her voice barely audible. And some of the others. They threatened me. If I didn't pay them, they said they'd tell you. They'd ruin everything. My jaw tightens as the truth unravels. Claire wasn't just cheating. She was being blackmailed. But that doesn't absolve her. She still lied, still betrayed me, still destroyed our family. Why didn't you come to me? I ask, my voice shaking with anger. Why didn't you tell me the truth? She looks up at me, her eyes filled with guilt. I was ashamed. I didn't want you to know. Congratulations, I say bitterly. You've managed to make this even worse. I step back, running a hand through my hair. This ends now, Claire. I don't care what it takes. You're cutting ties with them. You're telling the kids everything. And after that, we're done. Her sobs intensify, but I don't care. I've made my decision. There's no saving this marriage, no salvaging what's left. It's time to end this once and for all. The next morning, I wake up with a clarity I haven't felt in weeks. The decision is made, and there's no turning back. Claire's betrayal, her lies, and now her involvement with these blackmailers. It's all too much. For my sanity and the kids' well-being, I have to end this. As I come downstairs, Claire is already at the kitchen table, staring into her coffee cup like it holds all the answers to her problems. She looks up as I enter, her face etched with exhaustion. We need to talk, I say, my voice firm but controlled. She nods silently, bracing herself. You're cutting ties with them today, I say, sitting across from her. I don't care what they've threatened, or what you think they have on you. This ends now. Her eyes widen. Jake, I don't know if I can. You don't understand how dangerous they are. I lean forward, my voice dropping. You think I care about how dangerous they are? I care about this family, Claire. I care about our kids. And I'll be damned if I let these people keep their claws in you, or us. Her lip trembles, but she doesn't argue. She knows I'm right. Mark is helping me track everything. I continue. We have enough evidence to go to the authorities if we need to. But you're going to handle this first. You're going to tell them it's over, and if they come near you or our family again, I'll handle it. Her tears start again, but this time I see a flicker of resolve in her expression. Okay, she whispers. I'll do it. Good, I say, standing. I'll be home later. And when I come back, I want proof that you've cut all ties. Every text deleted, every contact blocked. Understood? She nods, her shoulders slumping in defeat. I understand. I leave the house, the weight of the situation pressing down on me. It's a gamble, trusting her to handle this on her own. But I can't fight this battle for her. She has to take responsibility for her choices. By the time I return that evening, the atmosphere in the house has shifted. Claire is sitting on the couch, her phone in hand. She looks up as I enter, a mixture of fear and relief on her face. I did it, she says, holding up her phone. I blocked their numbers, deleted everything. I take the phone from her, scrolling through her messages and contacts. It's all gone, just as I demanded. Good, I say, handing it back. Now, we focus on the next step. She looks at me, her eyes pleading. Jake, I know I don't deserve it, but thank you for helping me, for giving me a chance to make this right. I shake my head, the anger and betrayal still simmering beneath the surface. Don't thank me, Claire. This isn't for you. It's for the kids. She nods, tears streaming down her face. I understand. The rest of the evening passes in strained silence. The kids sense the tension but don't ask questions, for which I'm grateful. I spend most of the night in the garage, trying to focus on anything but the chaos unfolding in my life. As I lie in bed that night, staring at the ceiling, one thought keeps running through my mind. This is far from over. Claire may have taken the first step, but the damage she's done to our family is irreparable. And as much as I want to believe she can change, the trust is gone. Tomorrow, I'll start planning the next phase. I don't know what the future holds, but one thing is certain. I won't let her drag me or the kids down with her. The morning air feels heavy as I step out onto the porch, clutching a cup of coffee in one hand and my phone in the other. Mark's text from last night lingers in my mind. Keep your guard up. These things rarely end cleanly. He's right. Even though Claire claims to have cut ties with the people she was involved with, I can't trust it. Not yet. I call Mark as the sun begins to rise. We need to secure everything, I tell him. The house, the finances, everything. I was just about to suggest the same thing, he replies. I'll help you lock it all down. You don't want any surprises? We spend the next several hours going over every detail. I change the passwords on all our joint accounts and freeze any lines of credit Claire might try to access. Mark helps me set up additional surveillance around the house, hidden cameras, motion detectors, the works. It's overkill, maybe, but I won't take any chances. By noon, the kids are awake and milling around the house. They seem subdued, the weight of yesterday's conversation still hanging over them. Emma pulls me aside while the younger ones are distracted. Dad, she says hesitantly, are you okay? I take a deep breath, forcing a smile for her sake. I'm fine, sweetheart. Just a lot to process. She nods, her expression serious. Do you think you and Mom will, stay together? I pause, the question cutting deeper than I expected. I don't know, Emma. Right now, I'm focused on making sure you and your brothers and sister are okay. Her eyes well up with tears, but she nods. I just don't want us to fall apart. I place a hand on her shoulder, trying to reassure her. We won't. I promise. Later that evening, Claire approaches me in the kitchen. Her demeanor is different, calmer, more subdued. She looks like she's aged 10 years in the past 2 days. Jake, she says, her voice soft. I want to talk about the next steps. For us. I set down the dish I'm washing, turning to face her. What about them? She hesitates, wringing her hands. I know I've destroyed your trust. I know I've hurt you and the kids more than I can ever make up for. But I want to try. I want to make things right. I lean against the counter, crossing my arms. You can't undo what's been done, Claire, no matter how much you want to. I know, she says quickly, her voice cracking. but I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Therapy, counseling, anything. Just give me a chance. I stare at her, the anger and betrayal swirling in my chest. Part of me wants to tell her it's too late, that there's nothing she can do to fix this. But another part of me, the part that still remembers the good times, the life we built together, hesitates. This isn't about you and me anymore, I say finally. This is about the kids. They need stability, and right now, you're not it. She flinches, but she doesn't argue. What do you want me to do? She asks. For starters, I want you to step back, I reply. Focus on fixing yourself before you try to fix us. And if you can't do that, then we're done. Completely. Tears stream down her face, but she nods. I understand. I leave her standing in the kitchen, the weight of the conversation pressing down on both of us. As I sit alone in the living room, staring at the family photos on the wall, I realize just how far we've fallen. The life we once had is gone, and I'm not sure it can ever be rebuilt. But for now, I have to focus on what matters most, protecting the kids and finding a way forward. Whether Claire is part of that future remains to be seen. The next morning, the house feels heavy with silence. Claire is avoiding me, likely still reeling from our conversation last night. The kids, though they try to act normal, carry the weight of our fractured family in their eyes. I know I can't let this continue. I sit at the kitchen table, phone in hand, and call my lawyer, Lisa. She picks up after a few rings, her tone professional but warm. Jake, I was wondering when you'd call. What's going on? I lay it all out for her. The infidelity, the blackmail, the financial mess Claire has created. Lisa listens intently, occasionally interjecting with questions. By the time I'm done, she sighs deeply. Jake, you're doing the right thing by locking down your finances and gathering evidence, she says. But if you're serious about protecting yourself and the kids, you need to move forward with a formal separation agreement. The words hit me like a gut punch. Separation. It's one thing to think about it, to know it's inevitable, but hearing it spoken aloud makes it real. What does that involve? I ask, my voice steady despite the turmoil in my chest. Lisa explains the process, filing the paperwork, dividing assets, establishing custody arrangements. It's clinical and cold, but necessary. By the time she's finished, I feel like I've aged 10 years. I'll draft the documents, she says. In the meantime, keep everything civil. The courts favor parents who put their children first. Thanks, Lisa, I say, ending the call. My hands tremble as I set the phone down. This is it, the beginning of the end. I spend the rest of the morning preparing. I gather financial documents, printouts of Claire's transactions, and copies of the evidence Mark collected. Every piece is another nail in the coffin of our marriage, but I can't afford to let emotions cloud my judgment. I have to stay focused. By the time Claire emerges from the bedroom, I'm ready. She stops in the doorway, her eyes red from crying. Jake, she starts, her voice tentative. Can we talk? Sure, I say, motioning to the chair across from me. She sits hesitantly, her hands fidgeting in her lap. I've been thinking about what you said, she begins. And you're right. I need to focus on fixing myself. I nod, keeping my expression neutral. Good. That's a start. I want to be better, she continues, her voice trembling. For the kids, for you. If there's still a chance for us. Her words hang in the air, heavy and uncertain. I take a deep breath, choosing my words carefully. Claire, I appreciate that you're trying. But right now, my priority is protecting the kids and securing their future. What does that mean? She asks, fear flickering in her eyes. It means I've spoken to a lawyer, I say, my voice steady. We're moving forward with a separation agreement. Her face crumples, fresh tears spilling down her cheeks. Jake, no, please don't do this. I don't have a choice, I reply, my tone firm. You made your decisions, Claire. Now I have to make mine. She sobs quietly, but I don't waver. This isn't about punishment or revenge. It's about setting boundaries and taking control of a situation that spiraled out of hand long ago. I'll stay in the house for now, I continue, for the kids' sake. But things are going to change. No more lies. No more secrets. She nods through her tears, her voice barely a whisper. Okay. The rest of the day is a blur of logistics. I work with Lisa to finalize the paperwork, ensuring every detail is accounted for. By the time evening rolls around, I feel a strange sense of calm. The storm isn't over, but I've taken the first step toward reclaiming my life. That night, as I sit alone in the living room, I realize something important. This isn't just the end of my marriage. It's the beginning of something new. A chance to rebuild, to focus on myself and my kids, and to leave the pain of the past behind. The next morning, the paperwork is ready. Lisa assures me that everything is airtight. Custody agreements, financial divisions, and stipulations for the house. I hold the folder in my hands, the weight of it a stark reminder of what's happening. This isn't just a conversation anymore. It's official. I sit Claire down at the kitchen table once again. She looks nervous, her hands twisting in her lap. "What's this?" she asks as I place the folder in front of her. "It's a separation agreement," I say bluntly. "We need to make things official, for the kids' sake and for ours." Her eyes widen, tears immediately welling up. "Jake, please. We can fix this. I can change." I hold up a hand, cutting her off. "This isn't about punishment, Claire. This is about stability. For the kids, for me, and for you. We can't keep living like this." She picks up the folder with trembling hands, flipping through the pages. "You've already decided," she whispers, her voice thick with emotion. "Haven't you?" "Yes," I reply firmly. "This isn't a decision I made lightly, but it's the right one." Her tears fall freely now, but I don't let them sway me. "I need you to sign this, Claire. If you want to prove to me and the kids that you're serious about changing, this is the first step." She hesitates, staring at the document as if it's a physical blow. "What happens if I don't?" I meet her gaze, my expression unflinching. "Then we go to court. And trust me, you don't want that." She nods slowly, her tears dripping onto the table. "Okay," she says quietly. "I'll sign." As she picks up the pen, I feel a strange mix of emotions. Relief, sadness, and a flicker of hope. For the kids, if nothing else. She scribbles her name at the bottom of the document and slides it back across the table. "Thank you," I say, standing. "This is the first step, Claire. But it's only the beginning." "What now?" she asks, her voice small. "Now, we focus on the kids," I reply, "and on rebuilding what's left of our lives." I take the signed documents to Lisa's office that afternoon, feeling a strange sense of closure as I hand them over. She smiles at me, her tone encouraging. "You're doing the right thing, Jake. This will give you the space you need to move forward." Later that evening, I sit with the kids, explaining the new arrangement. I keep it simple, focusing on how things will stay as stable as possible for them. Emma is the most vocal, her anger at Claire still simmering beneath the surface. "I don't understand how she could do this," she says, her voice shaking. "How could she throw everything away?" "She made mistakes," I say carefully. "Big ones. But she's still your mom, and she loves you. That hasn't changed." Jack crosses his arms, his expression unreadable. "Does this mean you're leaving?" "No," I reply firmly. "I'll still be here. For all of you." Max clings to me, his small voice breaking my heart. "We're not losing you, right, Dad?" "Never," I say, holding him close. "No matter what happens, I'll always be here for you." The conversation is hard, but it feels like progress. The kids deserve honesty, and for the first time in weeks, I feel like I'm giving them that. That night, I sit alone in the living room, the quiet of the house settling around me. The separation agreement is just a piece of paper, but it represents so much more. A chance to start over, to rebuild on my terms. It's not the life I envisioned, but it's a life I can control. And that, for now, is enough. The next few weeks blur together as the new normal settles into place. Claire spends most of her time trying to rebuild her relationship with the kids, though they remain distant. I focus on work and ensuring our household stays functional, all while keeping a close eye on the situation. Trust might never return, but stability for the kids is non-negotiable. One evening, as I sit in the garage tinkering with an old toolbox, Mark calls. "Jake, thought you'd want to know. Everything's locked down now. bank accounts, property filings, even the security systems. You're in full control. Thanks, Mark, I reply. You've done more than I could have asked. Anytime, man, he says. But listen, I've been thinking. Are you sure you want to stick around there? I mean, you're basically living with a ticking time bomb. His words hit harder than I'd like to admit. I've been so focused on protecting the kids and securing my footing that I haven't considered my long-term future. Is staying here the best move, or am I clinging to something already beyond saving? Later that night, as the house sleeps, I find myself standing in the doorway of Max's room. He's curled up in bed, clutching the stuffed bear he's had since he was a baby. The sight tugs at something deep inside me, a reminder of why I've fought so hard to hold things together. But it's not just about them. It's about me too. What kind of father can I be if I'm constantly walking on eggshells, tethered to a past filled with betrayal? The next morning, Claire approaches me in the kitchen. Her eyes are red from lack of sleep, her face drawn. Jake, she starts hesitantly. I've been thinking. Maybe it's time for me to move out. The words catch me off guard. Move out. She nods, her gaze dropping to the floor. I've been staying here for the kids, but I can see that it's not working. They're angry at me, and I'm just making it worse. I study her, trying to gauge her sincerity. For once, she seems genuine, tired, but genuine. Where would you go? I don't know yet, she admits. I'll figure something out. I think this is what's best. For all of us. Part of me feels a pang of sadness, but it's overshadowed by relief. This is the break we need. The space to truly move forward. I think you're right, I say finally. It might be time. Her shoulders slump as she exhales, as though a weight has been lifted. Thank you, Jake, for everything. I know I don't deserve your kindness. This isn't about kindness, I reply. It's about what's best for the kids. For all of us. Over the next few days, Claire begins packing her things. The atmosphere in the house shifts, lighter, somehow. The kids notice, too. Emma pulls me aside one evening, her expression guarded. Is Mom really leaving? She asks. I nod. She thinks it's what's best. Emma hesitates, then nods slowly. Maybe it is. I don't know if I'll ever forgive her. That's okay, I say. You don't have to forgive her right away. Take your time. But don't let the anger control you. You're better than that. She offers a small smile, and for the first time in weeks, I feel like we are on the right track. The day Claire moves out is quiet. She hugs each of the kids goodbye, tears streaming down her face, but none of them say much. When she turns to me, she hesitates, as though unsure of what to say. Take care, Jake, she says finally. I nod, keeping my emotions in check. You too. As her car disappears down the street, I take a deep breath, the weight of the last few months lifting slightly. This isn't the end of the journey, but it's a step towards something better. For the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm in control of my life. And that's a start. The house feels different now. Quiet, but not in a heavy way. It's a calm I haven't felt in months. With Claire gone, the tension that had gripped every corner of our lives seems to ease, leaving room for something I didn't expect. Hope. The kids are adjusting in their own ways. Emma, always the strongest, has taken it upon herself to help with the younger ones. She's been spending more time with me too, asking questions about the future, about how we'll move forward. I don't have all the answers, but I know one thing. We're a team now, and I won't let them down. One evening, as we're sitting around the dinner table, Jack speaks up for the first time in weeks. Dad, he says, poking at his mashed potatoes, are you happy now? The question catches me off guard. I look at him, at all of them, their faces expectant, hopeful. I wouldn't say I'm happy, I admit, but I feel like we're moving in the right direction. And that's what matters. They nod, satisfied with my answer, and the conversation shifts to lighter topics, school, sports, weekend plans. It feels normal, almost like the way things used to be. And for the first time, I allow myself to smile. The next few weeks are a whirlwind of adjustments. I throw myself into work, finding solace in the structure and routine. I make it a point to be there for the kids, attending their games, helping with homework, and just being present. It's not easy, but it feels right. One evening, as I'm cleaning out the garage, I find an old box of photos. It's filled with memories of happier times, family vacations, birthdays, lazy Sundays spent in the backyard. I sit on the floor, flipping through them, a bittersweet ache settling in my chest. It's a reminder of what we had, what we lost, and what we still have. The kids. The chance to build something new. A life where trust and love aren't just words but actions. I tuck the box away, deciding it's time to make new memories. The next day, I surprise the kids with a weekend trip to the mountains. Their excitement is contagious, and for the first time in a long time, I feel like we're moving forward together. As we hike through the trails, the crisp air filling our lungs, I realize something important. The pain, the betrayal, the anger, they don't define me. They're part of my story, but they're not the whole story. I'm not the same man I was before all this happened. I'm stronger, wiser, and more aware of what matters. My kids, my integrity, my future. When we reach the top of the trail, Max tugs on my sleeve, pointing at the view. Look, Dad, it's so big. I laugh, ruffling his hair. Yeah, it is, buddy. Just like life. Big and full of possibilities. Emma snaps a picture of us, her smile genuine for the first time in weeks. We should frame this, she says. It's a good memory. And it is. One that marks the beginning of something new. A life rebuilt not on lies and betrayal but on trust, resilience, and love. As we head back down the trail, I feel a weight lift from my shoulders. The journey isn't over, but for the first time, I'm looking forward to what lies ahead. And I know we'll be okay. Thank you for following along with this story. What would you do in a similar situation? Share your thoughts, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of resilience and redemption.